break from this year's halftime tune. This is something that Eric and I composed together, and it's got a little bit of movement since we're typically on the halftime field, so we'll see how it goes inside. Thanks.
Man, there's a lot there. I'm not sure where to start. First and foremost, let's talk about just a little bit of balance stuff with you guys. Just kind of looking through the battery segment, there's a lot of different touches going on to the drum, right? There's some of you guys that are, let's say maybe a little bit more staccato in your approach, and some of you guys that are a little bit more legato in your approach. So we see something in the nature of, you know, just for like your general 8 on a hand that looks like this, okay? So think about it, you know, again, I'm not trying to say anything different than what you're being taught, but think about the different sounds that are going to be created based on those different touches, okay? If I hold on to the sticks really tightly, right, they're going to give me that sound. If I hold on really loosely, they're going to give me that sound. So conversely, on the drum, it's going to come through that way, right? So holding on really tight, holding on really loose. Two different pitches out of the instrument that way. And that's going to be apparent on anything that you're playing with. Okay, so that's one thing to take a look at, to just make sure that that's completely balanced throughout the group. Okay, so we're working on that. An exercise that you can kind of do on that, okay, is literally to go back and forth. So a lot of things that I do with my groups is let them understand sort of what's wrong to know what's right. Right? You got to know what hot is to know what cold is. You got to know happy versus sad, all that stuff. So to purposely go really kind of into left field with one of the things that's wrong. Like let's say we want to have that more staccato approach, right? Then completely let go. Okay, that's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be doing this other thing. So that's one thing that can help that. And just getting that touch and that approach, the strike of the instrument to be more of the same. Okay, let's do something real quick. Can we just do 8 on a hand? And what I'm going to do too is we're going to play 8s. So we'll sit this one out, or you guys can do with the sticks. Actually, that'd be cool. That's neat. That's really cool. Do you guys ever do that with the left hand, so they get like a left hand workout as well? Right? That might be something to consider, so they can develop that left hand as well. You guys could be like double strap, man. Okay. We're going to do 8 on a hand, okay? But we're just going to do 8. We're just going to do 8 on one, 8 on the other. We're going to do 4 times on each hand, okay? So 8, 8, 8, 8, and then repeat that. Does that make sense? Okay? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to change my balance, right? So I want you guys to close your eyes when you do this. Okay, and I'm going to be playing on the center strum here, and I will go to odd diagonal. And the idea is to balance to that, right? So we use our ears to get that balance down in just a little bit better. Okay, here with me. Here we go. 1, 2. Close your eyes. 1. Finished without you. Okay, some people that. Okay, so we're gonna do that one more time, right? And I'm gonna kind of go to a place, and once I feel sort of settled, I'll go to another place. Okay, close your eyes again. 1. version. I don't want to be too loud at the time. Okay, so that's a tough thing to do, and I sort of threw you into the fire with that. Okay, but the bottom line is we got to listen to each other to get that balance to happen. Okay, there's one thing about hitting stuff together, right, and lining things up. Okay, that's one layer or level of clarity and cleanliness that we can have in the ensemble. There's the next level of balancing it out. Okay, and that's a huge part of it. Okay, so between the three of you guys, right, if one of you's here, one of you's here, somebody's right in the middle, it's not going to sound as together because we have different volumes coming out. So, right, it's going to be like if you're listening to speakers, right, and the right speaker's way louder than the left, right? It's the same tune, but it just doesn't sound quite right. Okay, so that's really something to check out in terms of balancing together. Another thing is working some, you guys are displaying some great skills in terms of splits, in terms of some of the sounds you guys are getting. There's some really neat things. Was watching it with John Weber and just going, man, you guys are doing all this low end stuff. It's great playing flams and this whole high school group playing that stuff is awesome, and it's really, really cool. So let's take a look at a way that you can even get a little bit stronger at those skills, right? It all has to do with low-end bounce, okay? So we can take a look at like 8 on a hand, and we can isolate each finger with that, okay? So if we actually went and played 8 on a hand, let's say with just the fulcrum, just the middle finger, just the ring, just the pinky, guys, it's just isolating each one of my fingers while I'm playing 8 on a hand. Traditional grip-wise, you could look at just the thumb, just the index finger, and actually using your middle finger to do the same thing. And that can get in a couple ideas of just how to move a little bit quicker, especially when we're doing like the faster. Just to bounce, getting those to work a little bit more for you. Speaking of, can we take a look? I call that exercise chug it up. I'm not sure. What do you guys call it? Chug it up, perfect. Right? Drum speak for what it sounds like. We're very phonetic people. Right? Can we see the roll version of that, please? Rhythm throughout that whole thing. What is that? Triplets and something else? Is it all 16th notes? What is it? It's all 16th notes, right? Okay, and we're in a little bit like 5/8, 3/4, 2/4 kind of thing, right? So if we think of the constant pulse with that, we can think this, or we can maybe even think something a little simpler, which is. Okay, so a lot of times when we get to the rolls, we hear something like this. Got to bring that opposite hand up a little bit to balance it out. You're supposed to be accenting the first diddle of the roll. Is it supposed to be? Okay, so let's think about approaching that roll from the same height, right, in both hands. Let's go a little bit slower. And 1. Thinking of that pulse with the whole thing, okay? And this is a great one too because it brings up groups of 3 in a 4 meter, right? Bucket, bucket, da da, bucket, bucket, da da, da 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 da, right? So it's a real telltale sign, and for the most part, you guys' feet look really good, but you can see where there's some times where that you want to kind of be where we kind of lean towards that, okay? So working on the balance of those rolls, you know, when you practice with the metronome. Put on the 8th note, I would suggest with that hand, or just straight 16th notes if you can to do that. And that's going to help your guys' balance along the way as well as you do rolls down the line and all that. Same thing balance-wise with you guys, right? The intensity that you smash the plates together is going to get more or less sound. So you're going to get that balance or lack thereof at times too. Okay. One more little concept to throw at you guys, the triplet grid thing. Okay, and this is back to the timing side of things, okay? And you can have all the chops in the world and play all the crazy notes, but if, again, the rhythm isn't together, and we're not balanced, and it's not going to come across as clearly. So watching the feet, like once I saw you guys do that, I was like, wow, high school's doing that too, that's awesome. I started looking at the feet, and a little funky at times, okay? So one thing I would recommend doing is being able to count the downbeat out loud and play that exercise, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You understand what I'm saying with that? Okay, to be able to do that, that will then communicate to your feet what's supposed to be going on, right? And if you go into the 16th note version of that, same kind of thing, right? Counting the whole way there too. But that would be something that would really dial that in. You'll notice that the taps get a lot cleaner, that whole thing gets a lot cleaner. Everybody's interpreting the beat exactly the same way. Let me chuck it one more time, just because it's awesome to see you guys play. Right? You guys do the six top? Did you guys do six toplets? Chuck, bigger. No? All right, that's a fun one to do. Do rolls one more time. Just thinking again about the balance of that whole thing, right? And I'm going to give these to you because you have major girl power going on. 3 of you in this airline, I know it's got to be a pain dealing with all these boys. So.